Whatever the hour, whatever the film or the Eurovision drama, it's coffee time. This is Emmanuel calling from Coffee Break, where we take a break and discuss about films, Eurovision and much more. Grab yourself a mug of hot tea or coffee, take a sip and let's dive into this. Let's talk about how would I rank the Eurovision winners of the last decade. As you all know, the 2020 contest was cancelled because of COVID, so we only have 9 winners to rank. So let's start with number 9, Portugal 2017. This might be a controversial pick. I've never been in love with this win. In a way, it's crazy to me that this is the entry that has received the most points in the history of the contest. It won by a landslide. It won the jury vote, it won the televote. I understand the narrative behind this entry, the singer having some health problems and him overcoming them and singing this perfectly lovely, fine song. It didn't make that much sense on the night. It still doesn't make that much sense to me. I know that the favorite that year was Italy, and in a way I think that that wouldn't have made for a very good winner either. I think Bulgaria would have made for a much better win. It would have been the first time Bulgaria had ever won. Christian Kostov, the artist, was only 17 years old, and that would have made this win even cooler. Portugal was fine. I don't hear many people talking about this win anymore. Again, it might be a little bit controversial because it is, at the end of the day, the entry with the most points in the history of the contest, even though that is kind of crazy to me. But I'm glad that Portugal has won the contest, so I can't be that mad about it. Number 8, Switzerland 2024. I know that some of you might come at me because I sense that this is a very beloved win amongst the Eurovision fandom. Let me be very clear. I love the fact that a non-binary person has won the contest. From that perspective, it is a very good win. I just think that Croatia would have made for a much better and more inspired winner that year. Just the narrative alone that Baby Lasagna was never meant to participate in Dora and then to win the national selection and to be the fan favorite for a country that has never won the contest. And him finishing in second place is already great. I just think that him winning too would have made for a monumentally great win for Croatia. The entry that won is fine. The song is a little bit too scattershot and too over the place. I think that Nemo is the best part of it. The way that they carried themselves in this very demanding physical live performance was very impressive. It had a very memorable staging, and again, I really love the fact that they are the first non-binary person that ever won the contest. But it comes down to which one of these two songs do I listen to more often, and there is no competition. I have barely listened to The Code ever since it won, but I listen to Rim Tim Tagidim on loop. I think that Croatia would have made for a much better winner, so that's why I rank this Eurovision win this low. Number 7, Bulgaria 2026. This is one of those cases where I like the win more than the entry itself. I don't think that Bangaranga would be in my top 10, it might not even be in my other 10. But my god, the idea of Bulgaria being this dark horse and shocking everyone, I just love the idea of a shock winner. There have been so many Eurovision editions that it was so predictable who would win. I have come to appreciate this song a lot more. It's a proper clap banger. And one thing I also really adore about this win is that it's an upbeat song. We have been so saturated with ballads winning and mid-tempo songs winning and radio-friendly songs winning. So in a way, it is also very refreshing to have a crazy bonkers upbeat song winning. I am ranking this low because I think that there are some entries that would have made for much better winners, like Romania, for instance, would have made for an all-timer win. I think that Finland would have also been a monumentally great win. It was my favorite in the night. I was really rooting for Finland to win. I think that Malta was also going to be an incredibly well-deserved winner. But in the end, I'm very glad that Bulgaria won, and I'm also very excited to potentially go to my very first Eurovision in Burgas. Number 6, Ukraine 2022. So Ukraine was always going to win that year. It was the year that the Ukrainian war broke out, and there was this insurmountable, overwhelming support from all of these countries. I do think that it goes beyond the sympathy vote. I think that this win for Ukraine is deserved. The song is very catchy. I like the instrumentation, it's memorable. The staging was simple but very effective, and overall I think that Ukraine that year was ultimately in my top 5, and it does make for a deserved winner. I just can't rank it any higher because there was no suspense that this entry would win. It was always going to be Ukraine. I also can't think of another entry that would make for a better winner. I mean, United Kingdom, which came second, would have been a very cool win, but I do prefer the Ukrainian entry to the British entry that year. And then who else? I really liked the entry from Azerbaijan, but that was never going to win. In a way, its qualification was also its win. And I don't know, I'm okay with this win. I don't think that it's just because of the sympathy vote. I think that it did have enough merit and quality to win the contest. Spain would have also made for a very well-deserved win, and one that would have aged very well, I think. But again, I don't hate this win at all. I think that it's pretty great. Number 5, Israel 2018. So here's the deal, I don't think that this win has aged very well. Everything that's going on with Israel in a way has made me like this win a little bit less. It was a song and a performance very much so of its time. But if I were to separate the current political climate with this entry, I still think that the song is extremely catchy and I adore the message behind the song. It was of course capitalizing on the Me Too movement. It's a very female empowering song. I adore the performance, the way Netta carries herself. She's such a queen on stage. Her vocal power, her mannerisms, the way that she came on the stage and stole the entire show. Number 4, Sweden 2023. Here's the deal, Euphoria is my all-time favorite Eurovision entry. I adore that song with my full heart. I think that everything about that song and that live performance was virtually flawless, and her 2023 effort doesn't come anywhere near that song. But I have come around to Tattoo. I think that it's a very well-produced song, and the way that she sings it, it's very memorable, it's very appealing. The staging is very striking, and ultimately if this song ever played in a club, I would absolutely dance to it. I could never hold a grudge against a well-produced, slick, Melodifestivalen product, and Loreen is just an icon, and she's such a queen, and I adore the fact that she is the first woman to ever win the contest twice. It was never going to be in my top 3, but still, I think that this win has aged fairly well. I don't hear that many people talking about it still, but it made sense, and I don't think that another country would have made for a much better win. I guess Finland would be my preferred choice to win. That would have also been a really cool win. Israel would have made for a much better winner at the time, but it wouldn't have aged well at all. Even though I much prefer the Israeli entry, in a way I'm very glad that it didn't win, because it would have been right before the October 7 attacks and the situation would have been very complicated. Number 3, Italy 2021. Now there is actually an entry that at the time I was very much passionate about and I was very bummed about not winning, and that is Switzerland with John's Tears. I was so mad when Italy won over that song, but in a way I have very much come around to that win. I think that it's a very good song. I love that a song in the rock genre won. I think that it has sort of transcended the Eurovision bubble, and it paved the way for a global success for Måneskin. So I can't be that mad about it, right? I have also listened to Titi e Buoni much more than I have listened to Tout l'Univers, which also would have made for a very good win, but in the end, I'm very glad that Måneskin won. And Emmanuel from 2021, it's okay that your favorite didn't win, don't cry, Italy made for a very good victory. Number 2, Austria 2025. Now, I don't know about you, I have no idea how that entry has aged for many people. I adore that song and that performance. The way JJ belts this song, it's so powerful. It produces goosebumps every time I listen to it. It's a very emotional song. It has a very sophisticated feel to it. The staging is very cinematic. I love the black and white monochrome of it all, and it's ultimately an entry that very much so made sense to win. It wasn't my favorite of the night. I was rooting for Sweden that year. I just think that that would have made for a very inspired win, and that would have also ranked very high. But I have no problem with Austria winning that year. It was a very well-deserved win, and I still love this entry and this win for Austria. And finally, number 1, the Netherlands 2019. So I remember this being the betting odds favorite. There were sort of talks about Russia potentially winning. There was talk about Italy also potentially winning. But it was always going to be Duncan Lawrence with that beautiful, emotional song. The live performance wasn't its greatest asset, but he sang it so beautifully, and the song has stuck with me and I still listen to it. It has very good staying power. It's just such an outpour of emotions. It's overwhelming to listen to it. It's so true and authentic to the artist. And he's also very humble as a person, and I loved seeing him in interviews as well. He's very funny, he's again very humble and down to earth. It was a radio hit, but it wasn't very calculated. Again, it was very authentic, very real, and I still love this song. It might have not been my favorite of the night, but it's definitely in my top 3, maybe in my top 2. I adore this win for the Netherlands, and it's my choice for the greatest Eurovision win of the last decade. And that is a wrap. Thanks so much for watching, I do appreciate it. Also, make sure to follow me on multiple social media platforms, including Letterboxd, for more film-related content, and Pinterest, and X, and Gold Derby. The links are in the description. Can't wait for more coffee breaks. And until next time, pour yourself a fresh one.